We're back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time you are tuning in, welcome back to this episode of Not Your Grandma's Advice. Last episode, we talked about respecting your own authority, recognizing your self-worth, and doing things just because you said you were going to do them, especially showing up for yourself, right? So take some time now, comment down below either a win you had this week, something you checked off of your to-do list, a way you respected yourself or understood your own self-worth, or tell me how you respected your own authority this week. Let me hear any of those things in the comments. I'm curious to see how you guys are applying what we're talking about in these episodes. And then come on back because we got things to talk about in this episode. All right. This episode is going to be about doing things for the plot. Okay. Doing things just for the sake of living an interesting life. Living a life worth living, right? I'm sure some of us, we get into a routine. We talked about responsibilities last episode. You probably have those responsibilities regularly, right? They're not things that just kind of come and go. There's probably a schedule to them, right? Sticking to a schedule is great for a lot of people, but sometimes it can get a little boring, right? Living a monotonous life, you don't really want to do the same thing over and over and over again. I know for me, when my schedule doesn't change up too often, it makes me want to rip my own hair out. I don't know what that might be associated with, but all I know is sometimes I have to switch up my routine, okay? Now, last episode, since we talked about respecting your own authority, and we talked about recognizing your self-worth, setting boundaries with yourself, hitting those goals that you set for yourself, and doing things for yourself just because you said you were going to do them, right? Now, we're going to apply all of that and start living the life of our dreams, okay? So get ready, buckle up, because we're doing things for the plot. Now, some of you who are chronically online, like I am, understand the reference doing things for the plot. But for those of you that actually have a life outside of TikTok and social media, let me tell you what that means. Doing it for the plot means that you do something out of the ordinary, or you do something that's out of character for yourself or something new just to switch up your routine or to advance yourself into a different storyline, basically. Okay, so doing things for the plot means your life is the story, okay? And you're doing things that are kind of boring. You're living life day to day. Let me paint a picture for you. For me, right now, I do the same things almost every single day. I'm tired, y'all. I go to work. I do schoolwork because I'm getting my master's. I have extracurriculars, so organizations that I'm a part of that I have meetings for. I have a mentor. I have a pet that I take care of. And then I have me and my boyfriend. Occasionally I'll hang out with my girls. That's really it. I don't do anything outside of those things. I might go to a new event here and there. Those are the things that I've started doing for the plot. But now I'm starting to pick up hobbies that I dropped when I was younger. I'm starting to go to events and things that I usually wouldn't go to. I've been networking. I know, I sound so business-like and professional, but yes, I've been going to networking events. I've gotten back into piano. I'm just doing things to spice up that monotonous life, right? And I'm not saying that I'm bored with my life. Well, I am super happy for my social life, for sure. My friends, my partner, the extracurriculars, I love. My responsibilities, though. Having too many responsibilities that outweigh your social life. Like if you feel like you're in your professional setting more than you're in your fun personal setting, it might be time to switch some things up, right? That's what they mean by work-life balance. So talk to me. I know that a lot of us tune into this podcast, hopefully because you want to see me and support me, but because you're actually listening to the things that we're saying. And that's probably because you live a life, right? You're learning things as you go. Me the reason I created this podcast was because there are a lot of things that you want to talk about and a lot of things that you want to share with other people or things that you've experienced with other people. And you know that turning to a premium adult, as I like to call them, and I'm sure some of you have heard that phrase as well. A premium adult is somebody that is an adult, because we are also adults, but has way more life experience than you, right? So if you're a 20-something, your parents, that's a premium adult. Yes, you're an adult in the eyes of the government. Sure, you can vote, you can drink, you can enlist in the war, but a premium adult has those life experiences, right? But of course, they might sugarcoat some things. You may not be able to talk about those things in detail. That's why I created a podcast like this. And that's probably why you're listening to a podcast like this, because you want the real nitty gritty of the way things work. That being said, that also means that you probably have a professional life and a social life, because those are two things that young professionals typically have, right? So based off of just some conversations I had with other people, it seems like when you're a newer adult, right, you're trying to find your footing in the world, you are more likely to focus on work or your social life. It's really hard finding that balance in between them, because if you party too much, then your professional life slacks. Or if you're too busy with work, then your personal life slacks. It's really hard finding the balance between them. That is when you do things for the plot. Say you're more social. If you know you're a party person and you do not want to work a 9-to-5, why do you have one? There's so many random, off the wall, odd jobs that you can do. You don't have to work a 9-to-5. If you know that you want to spend your 20s, your early adult life, partying, having fun, going out, stuff like that, get a job that suits that type of life, right? I'm not saying go quit your job before you have a new one, not in this economy, but switch things up, right? Or try to do something a little different, something that balances the things you like. So there are now 2 instances where I'm thinking these jobs kind of go together now. But when I was an undergrad, for those of you that know, I went to the University of Missouri, MIZ. But there was a teacher. I don't remember what his role was. I think he was the principal or the dean, something like that, at the school at the high school I volunteered at, right? And I realized he looked so familiar because he was also the promoter for the club that we used to go out at. Shout out to those that went to Mizzou. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Gold Bar was the move. But y'all remember those that were also in Pass and those that went to Gold Bar. He was the promoter, but he was also the dean of students. Also, the school that I teach at now, he's no longer there, but our dean was also a promoter. So I'm starting to think that maybe there's a connection between leadership at the school and throwing a good party, you know? So if you have a big social life and you're a big social person, but you have a professional job, try to find a way that combines them, right? Maybe get on the culture team at your job, or get on the marketing team, something that allows you that creative and social outlet while you're at work. That's something different. That's something that switches up your routine, but also combines them, helps you find some balance. Now, for our other peeps who are more work than play, here's what y'all are gonna do. Set those work boundaries, okay? We have talked work boundaries. We have talked life boundaries, self boundaries, relationship boundaries. By now, y'all should know how to set boundaries just by watching these podcasts, okay? Stop taking your work home. I know. It is so hard, especially when you want to do a great job and you might be a perfectionist. Remember, we talked about it. There's no such thing as perfect. Start managing your time where you're leaving work at work. Okay? A lot of times, those professional people don't have, I say professional people like I'm not also a professional, but those professional people don't have a social life outside of work because they're taking their work home with them. Those hours that are meant to be for socializing and self-care and taking care of your relationships and yourself, you're spending that still doing work. You clock in, you go to your 9 to 5, and then your 5 to 9, you're still working. Stop that. Stop doing that. Okay? Because I guarantee you, no matter how good your job is, they'd replace you in a heartbeat. Okay? They would replace you in a heartbeat. So unless you are the boss of your own company or you are just starting as an entrepreneur, take some time off. All right? And I mean, you can pick up a hobby. You can go to a new event to meet people. You can go to a party. Do something that you wouldn't usually do. Get out of there, right? Get outside your box. So if you're working 9 to 5 and then working again 5 to 9, instead of taking that work home and working again 5 to 9, try picking up a hobby. And if you're not a social person, I know we have a lot of introverts that watch this as well. I say a lot, like we don't have like 10 viewers, but you know what I mean. If you're an introvert and you're not big on the socializing, a hobby, it counts as doing something for the plot. Okay? Start learning how to crochet or get into reading, learn how to paint, do a paint by numbers if you're not that artistic, right? There are plenty of things you can do for the plot. This is not me going out and telling you guys to text back a toxic ex or to quit your job or sell your car and move across the country. This is not me endorsing those things when I say do it for the plot, okay? This is me saying, real talk, if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling like you are in a loop, just living the same day over and over and over again. Those of you that saw SpongeBob, that one episode where Squidward was doing the same thing all the time. If you feel like that, if you feel like there is no end to your days, it is time to do something for the plot. And I'm going to tell you why. You might be thinking, oh, Nova, you're just saying that because you want work-life balance, or you keep hearing people preach work-life balance, but you don't understand why that is so important, okay? Let me tell you the why behind it. As a psych girly, you know I'm all about mental health, right? For those of you that don't know, yes, my bachelor's is in psychology, and I'm currently getting my master's in behavioral science. So yes, I'm a big psych girly. I'm a big mental health girly. There is proof everywhere. You can literally Google it anywhere, and scientific articles will pop up that shows what happens when you are too sociable and you have no structure, right? And you have no balance to your work. And they talk about what happens when you are too much work and not sociable enough, right? Both have detrimental effects on your mental health, your relationships, and the quality of life. Remember, this podcast, all these episodes are about improving your quality of life, right? And being a better human to those around you as well. If you're working too much and you rarely have time to make those personal connections, relationships, what good does it what sense does it make to work so hard to get all these promotions, to get to the top, if you, 1, have no one to share it with, 2, have no one to support you on that journey, and 3, you have no one to turn to. So not only do you have no one to share your successes with, no one to share good news with, right? It feels like you're doing it just for what, right? You also have no one to support you on your journey. I'm one of those people I want to bring all my people to the table, right? If I'm going to eat, they going to eat too. I'm not saying everybody has to be that way if that's not your prerogative, right? But it would help if you had people to help you get to the place you want to be. You're going to struggle for no reason just because you're not out making those connections. And then also, you don't have anyone to turn to. Say you're struggling to get to your place and you start spiraling. If you're not already in counseling, or if for whatever reason you don't believe in it, I'm going to preach therapy up and down because, like I said, I'm a psych girly and mental health is important. But if you are spiraling because work is stressful, always being in professional mode is tiring, you're not going to have anyone to talk to, anyone who you can cry on their shoulder, anyone you can turn to in a time of need, right? Because you haven't made those connections. You haven't gone out and made a social life. You haven't built an inner circle. You're alone. So you have no one to celebrate with, no one to eat with, and no one to cry with. You're going to feel alone, and you're going to be successful. Yes, possibly, but you're going to be unhappy. You're going to be unhappy because you have no one around you. On the other hand, too social, right? If you're too social, you're going out too much, you have no balance, you're probably going to struggle financially as well. If you don't take your job seriously, you're probably going to bounce from job to job to job, right? And you're not going to have money to fund that life you want to live soon enough. And then when all of your friends are succeeding because they're practicing that work-life balance, when they're succeeding and they're moving on and they're getting promotions and they finally have big people money, because remember, we're in our 20s, we're baby adults, we're not premium adults yet. When all your friends are premium adults and they have premium adult money because they were taking care of business, you're still going to be stuck at the bar with the 20-year-olds, partying your life away, broke, no money, and your life is going to change. People that you thought would have been around you forever are going to outgrow you because you are not growing at all. You are going to be stunted, and then you're going to wake up 30 years later and you're going to realize that you wasted a lot of those years being too social instead of trying to build a professional career for yourself. Okay? There are negatives to both sides. All right? That is why balance is so important. So if any of those things that I just said kind of resonate with you and you feel like maybe I do party a little too much, maybe I noticed that I'm hungover at work, yet all my coworkers that I was just out with the night before aren't hungover. That's because they probably stopped at 1 or 2 shots while you took back the whole bottle of Jim Beam. Okay? It's time to reevaluate some life choices. Or if you feel like you notice, man, I'm always the first one at work and the last one to leave, but I see my coworkers on their Instagram story and they're partying and they're going out and they're getting promotion after promotion and they're going to different jobs, but they're succeeding even higher. It's because those relationships are just as important as the work. Okay? And even if you don't care about the people around you, okay? Say you're a loner. Say you're a lone wolf. Okay? And the social you doesn't care if your friends outgrow you, and the professional you doesn't care if you have no one to party with or cry with, right? Say those things don't matter to you. Are you not going to get bored? At some point, is that not also going to become monotonous? At some point, is that not also going to become a loop that you are stuck in? And then you're going to have to do something for the plot anyway. So it might as well balance in your life. Right? So last episode, we talked about being able to do things for yourself because you said you were going to do them. Well, now I'm asking you, do one thing for the plot this week. Okay? It does not matter if it is starting a new hobby. It does not matter if it is reaching out to an old friend to catch up. It doesn't matter if it's meeting a new friend, somebody that you've kind of vibed with at work or you've seen around your apartment, and you want to say hey, right? Doesn't matter if it is taking a little staycation. This weekend is coming up. Take 2 days, visit a new city or go to a new restaurant. It doesn't matter. Do something for the plot this week, okay? I beg of you, switch up that routine now before we wake up 20 years later and we're stuck in a loop and we don't know how to get out, okay? Let's learn how to switch up our routine now in a proactive way, in a way that is not detrimental to our livelihood, right? A detrimental to our mental health, all right? So I don't know what I'm going to do for the plot yet this week, but I will definitely let you guys know when we're back here next Friday. Okay. So in the meantime, don't forget to comment below how last week went for you, whether you checked something off of your to-do list, whether you respected yourself and honored a boundary you set or a deadline you set, or if you just figured out your self-worth, right? Don't forget to comment that down below. And if you're feeling extra proactive, go ahead and comment below something that you know for a fact you're going to do this week to switch up, right? To do it for the plot, right? If you're feeling proactive, you can go ahead and comment that down below as well. In the meantime, I'm proud of you. Thanks for doing the work. And I will see you back here next Friday. Bye.